You're watching Danger Close Customs. Today we're going to take a look at my Izhevsk Mosin Nagant M91 PU Sniper. The PU Sniper in 7.62 by 54R is a variant of the very common M91 Mosin Nagant rifle. It's featured in the movie Enemy at the Gates as the main Russian sniper rifle. First, we'll take a look at my hex receiver M91 Mosin Nagant. As you can see here, the part of the receiver is hectagon shaped, so these are known as the hex receiver, and they are a little bit more uncommon than the regular round receivers. Being a little bit more rare, they are more collectible. Here's my regular M91 Mosin Nagant. This one has refinished stock here. It's probably the nicest stock I've seen on a Mosin Nagant. It's a beautiful rifle, and inside and out, it's pretty much near mint. It doesn't look to be fired very much. I was lucky to come across this from a collector, and this is the gun that's in my gun case. I don't take this one out to shoot. Mosin Nagant's a very popular sporting rifle for collectors and gun enthusiasts. The ammo used to be very cheap, and it's a powerful round, very much like a 308. This is Vasily Zaitsev, the real soldier that the movie Enemy at the Gates is based around. And he used the M91 PU Sniper in that movie. And so here's a look at mine. So I got this from a gun collector this year. He showed me that this is a true PU Sniper. But of course, I needed to do my own research and look it up. So far, I'm very happy with it. I think that it is a true PU Sniper. And I'll go into some details of why that is. The first part here is on the receiver. It's got the C in the circle is a accuracy mark. So all the PU snipers had to be from the batches that tested out, rigorously tested for accuracy. So here's that mark, the C in the circle. The other marks on here that indicate that this is a true sniper is the serial number prefix. So here I show you this. These are all the prefixes for actual snipers, and for 1944, TK is one of the prefixes for the true PU snipers. There's lots of different markings on this one. I'll go through and show you. I think it's really neat. You take a look at this rifle, and it's like a puzzle. You start looking. Inside there, you can see where the screws are. That's one of the indicators. If it looks like it's freshly milled, then it's not a true one. But there's these little triangles. These are the marks for the Izhevsk factory. And so you see these tiny little triangles there with an arrow inside. These marks are all throughout the rifle here. So I'll show you, even on these tiny little parts, random little parts, they're all stamped with that marking. And the stock itself, although it's got some marks where it's shown where it's been put back together or fixed, the stock itself has all these markings on it that are indicative of it being a real sniper rifle. A lot of these marks are proof marks for accuracy or different types of rounds that they fire through them. I don't have the details for every single marking, but there are several Circle 10 marks on here. And it's just interesting you get a rifle with probably 10 different marks stamped into their receiver. Here's another triangle underneath on the spring for the rear sight. So that's just a little tab of metal, and the fact that they marked that, I think is pretty interesting. On the bolt itself, there's a couple of the triangles stamped on there. And my rifle also has the correct metal fitting for the stock. called an escutcheon. But that's also an indicator that you have a real sniper stock, is that it has that type of metal fitting, which is different from the regular ones. The scope itself looks to be authentic, genuine, issued Russian scope. However, I can't verify that it is not a reproduction, and the scope mount could also be a reproduction. So one of the questionable things about this rifle is the scope mount isn't serialized and does not match the receiver. Usually they write the scope number on the side of the receiver, and on this rifle there isn't a scope number, and there isn't a scope number stamped into the receiver, and there isn't one that's ground off or been polished off either. And that's okay with me. I don't like the ones where they electro pencil the number, so it's just kind of hand engraved. Looks kind of sloppy and doesn't match the rest of the rifle. So now I'm going to try to wrap the rifle with some burlap to give it that look from the movie. They don't have video proof of this, but they are in pictures for the time period. And one of these pictures is actually Vasily's rifle. The rifles are wrapped for camouflage mostly. It's not a cold weather thing. It's just to break up the silhouette of a rifle. The less you can make it look like a big stick of wood with metal rod, the more you can conceal your weapon when you're out in the field. So here I just put a slit in here. I'm going to keep the sling on the rifle. The sling is very useful. So I'm just going to wrap around where the sling points are so that I can retain the sling. So you want to kind of bunch it up and just have some frilling, some layers. You don't want it to look uniform. Really, the more angles and overlapping and kind of rough ripples and shapes will give it more of an organic look so that it doesn't look like a rifle in the shadow. And just like the slings, I want to be able to use the iron sights seal. So the rear sight here, I'm going to just cut it a slit and feed that through so I can still use the rear sight. On a PU Sniper, the scope is a little bit higher, so you are able to still look down and use your iron sights. Here I'm trying to wrap up the scope, kind of cover up the metal. You're going to have a bunch of these hairs and threads sticking out. You can just cut them off, but it's just going to be a little bit frilly. But on my scope, I looked through there, it's still cleared. Nothing is in the way. And you also want to make sure nothing's in the way of the bolt and run the action. Make sure that it's not impeding or touching any part of the metal of the action. So here I'll run the action, run the bolt just to show that none of the threads or anything is going to stick inside there. Obviously it's closed, there's nothing that's going to catch on fire or anything. But you just want to make sure everything is out of the way after you wrap it. I probably would like to do another couple layers on here just to beef it up a little bit. It's right now, about 1.5 layers of burlap. And then to finish it off, I need to rub some mud and grease onto this to give it some discoloration. Make it have a little bit of used, weathered look. And that will also help with the shadows and kind of take it from just a light brown color to, camouflage. So these are really cool rifles, fun to shoot. The Russians defeated the Nazis with the help of this rifle for their sniper units. So it's got some fame and also some utility today. A great rifle for hunting or shooting targets. If I'm missing some details or some history on this, feel free to leave me a comment in the comment section. Make sure to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Danger close.